Hello everyone, Republic Jim here. It's Memorial Day. I'm just out on the upper acreage once again, going to get set up for an overnight camp out in a tarp shelter. Of course, I have tomorrow off work, so it's the perfect time to get out and do this. The weather's a little bit better now than it was yesterday at this time. It's finally starting to clear off a bit. Supposedly the forecast said that today was supposed to be fairly nice, and then Monday would be even sunnier and warmer. Now they've kind of revised that forecast because like most of today was overcast, and I don't think it ever got above 60 degrees. It's currently about 55. The forecast says about 39 degrees tonight and calm, which hopefully they're correct about that. Earlier it was actually kind of gusty again, and I'm never just real excited about walking through trees in the wind, especially ones that are already leaning. So I am thankful that it's calm right now, and hopefully it stays like that overnight. So for my camp out tonight, all I'm doing right now is going and setting up my shelter, getting things ready, and then I'll be hiking back down to the house just because I have things I need to deal with, including walking the dogs before bed. And I am on call for work right now too, so can't get too far from home. But thankfully I do have this property where I can get out, where it feels like I'm away from civilization anyway, and can camp out and try different stuff. So anyway, as I said, I'm just going to set up right now, but kind of two purposes for this outing. One is just to give me a chance to get out in the woods and relax and practice some of my basic skills like setting up a shelter. And the other reason is because I have various new pieces of gear that I need to test out and review. I've gotten items through the Amazon Vine program, and I need to put them to the test and write up some detailed reviews on them. So I figured, why not bring along several different items on one overnight and see how they do. Some of them are a little frivolous, but it's okay just to bring them along and test them out anyway. And then other items, could potentially be fairly decent, and I would like to know before I start actually including them in my regular loadout for SAR missions or anything like that. So this little grove right behind me is where I'm planning on setting up. There's one big, that's that one over there is a big pine tree, and it really puts down a thick bed of needles around here, so I'm planning on just raking up a bunch of them into a mound for putting my bed on. And I'll put down a ground tarp and my inflatable sleeping pad. One of the items that I have that I'm interested in trying out is this really lightweight 3-season down sleeping bag. So I'll be sleeping in that tonight, probably along with my whoopee, because the sleeping bag is comfort rated to 45 degrees. And anybody that's familiar with comfort ratings on sleeping bags knows that usually they're wildly optimistic. I don't know if they assume that everybody's going to be sleeping in insulated coveralls and a parka or something, but in general they tend to exaggerate what they're comfortable for. So I will probably end up using my whoopee along with that just to get a little more insulation. I also have this really kind of goofy looking pack. That weird winter or urban camo pattern is not something that I would have chosen if I was buying it, but again, it was through the Vine program. That was the only color option that they offered, and I wanted to try it out. I know already just from examining it and loading it and putting it on and such that it's not going to become a primary pack. More likely I'll put some emergency gear in it and use it as a vehicle bag, but wanted to test it out anyway. I also have a pretty stout water jug that holds, I forget what it is, around 3 gallons, I think, somewhere in that range, that I filled up, and it fits perfectly in the bottom of the pack. So not that I need that much water, but I wanted to test the water jug out on this outing, and it's also a good way to test the capacity on this pack. So right now the backpack itself weighs in at about 44 pounds with what I have loaded up on it, and then I have the chest rig, which I haven't weighed it, but certainly adds a little bit also. So the hike up here was a little bit taxing on my knee, which I mentioned in a couple of other videos that I somehow tweaked my knee. I don't know, it's been 2.5 to 3 weeks now. It's still painful, especially going uphill or downhill. So, you know, I throw some weight on, and that just makes it worse. Sorry about the shaking camera. I forgot to tighten down the wing nut. So anyway, but I figure the hiking up and down the hill is just at a slow pace. Taking it real easy is a good way to work at rehabbing the knee. So that's about it for the moment, just kind of rambling and explaining what I'm up to here. I'm going to shut off the camera, get my pack off, and see about setting up a tarp shelter real quick and get things unloaded and ready to head back down to the house. And there you have it, Republic Jim's excellent glamping adventure. Got just a real basic tarp shelter set up there. It's sort of a modified A-frame, just with the back end down low. It's got tons of room in there. That's like a 10 by 13 tarp, which I wouldn't normally be carrying in my SAR pack, but I do carry it in my Jeep, and it comes in handy for campouts like this. And when I come back up here with my other pack, then I will put down my ground tarp and inflate my sleeping pad and all that. But just wanted to get the shelter set up and test out the lights while I still had some daylight to string them up there. So when I'm up here after dark, it'll look pretty cool. And of course, I'm not going to run that all night long, but that's just running off of a power bank that with the USB plug-in. So anyway, and the idea is, in general, most of the stuff that I use will actually be in my SAR pack. I just wanted to use that pack for hauling the tarp and all that water that I don't actually need. And so tomorrow when I pack it up, I'll just empty any remaining water to really lighten up that pack, and then I'll just carry it down in my hand while I'm wearing my SAR pack. But anyway, I should have all the room in the world that I need there. And unless we got extreme weather, I think it would stay plenty dry. I don't have it staked out too incredibly solid or anything, but if I needed to, if the wind kicked up, I could always tie off a little better to those trees. And I haven't even gathered up a bunch of the extra pine needles. When I was kneeling down underneath there, it felt extremely thick and comfortable already, and by the time I put an inflated sleeping pad on top of that, it should be really comfortable. I probably will gather up a little bit more before I go to bed just to really mount it up, because I know stuff does compress, and that will give me a little more insulation from cold ground also. But anyway, that's all for now. I'm gonna shut off the lights and grab what I need and head back to the house while I still have some daylight. Well, I'm finally on my way back to my campsite. Ran into some unexpected delays at home, and it's way later than what I had anticipated. It's actually close to midnight now, and I still have to get up to my site and roll out and inflate my sleeping pad and get my sleeping bag out and such. So, not really ideal. I'd hoped to be up here a little sooner, but this definitely drives home the point of practicing at nighttime. Like when I go on SAR missions at night, it always amazes me just how different everything looks, and you're limited to the field of view from the headlamp, and just really don't have the benefit of peripheral vision, and you just can't see very far out there. So even on familiar territory, everything kind of tends to look different. And of course, I've gotten quite familiar with my property and hiking around at night, but first couple of times that I did it, especially when it was foggy, I got a little disoriented on my own property. So it's really easy to lose track of where you are if you're in unfamiliar areas. But that's one of the reasons that I like to do this. I mean, aside from the things that I need to do at home anyway, it's just good practice to get out and hike around by headlamp and practice with navigating and learning to operate like that. And right over here is the campsite. And there's that water bottle that I forgot and set down earlier. So I need to get in there and get my sleeping pad and bag and everything set up and ready to go, and get ready to pack it in for the night. Since it's as late as it is, I'm not planning on doing a whole lot of testing gear out tonight. Some of that will just have to wait until tomorrow morning. So I'm going to get set up and check back in before I go to bed. Well, it's officially Monday morning now. It's about 1:15 midnight. I've got my ground tarp down and got my sleeping bag, or my sleeping pad, inflated, and then I put down my poncho and liner, and then the lightweight down sleeping bag on top of that. And so if I end up getting too cold, then I can pull the poncho and liner around me, kind of like a burrito. But I also have it underneath me to help insulate a little more from the ground. So that should help. And I'm enjoying the mood lighting, and then I also have my little expensive camp light down there that throws out a fair amount of light and seems to have pretty good battery life. Of course, I'm not going to need light much longer because I'm about ready to turn in for the night, and I expect that by the time I get up it's going to be daylight, so should be about it for the lighting, but it's fun while it lasted. Give me a chance to test out these silly string lights. Not that I would ever normally use them on a camp out, but it was just entertaining to see what they're like. And yeah, I'm gonna try and get some sleep here and then do some other testing in the morning. It's currently about 43 degrees according to my thermometer that I stuck on the tree, and looks like pretty likely it will get down in somewhere into the 30s by morning, but hopefully I'll be comfortable with that bag. But if not, I think the poncho and liner should work fine too. So I'll report back and let you guys know how everything works out in the morning. Good morning. It's about 5 o'clock Monday morning, which is earlier than I wanted to wake up after getting to bed so late, but I'm going to have to get up and take care of business, and I will probably be going back to bed for a while, but I haven't checked the temperature yet. I just wanted to make note that this sleeping bag worked surprisingly well last night, so I'm pretty sure that it's below 40 degrees. Just not sure exactly how much below, but I just strictly use the sleeping bag. I never did need to pull the poncho and liner over the top to stay warm. I was surprised when I got in just how warm and comfortable it was. So it actually did surprisingly well considering the I expected the comfort rating to be an exaggeration, but actually, of course I tend to be comfortable at colder temperatures than most people are, but I have to say it felt to me like that comfort rating was actually pretty accurate. So, I'm wearing this base layer that's relatively warm, but other than that, I'm just in my underwear and took my socks off and everything, and yeah, and I was tired enough I didn't even think to put on a stocking cap last night. I just was laying here, and when I woke up my head was a little cold, but I reached over and grabbed my stocking cap, put that on. But yeah, other than that, I was nice and toasty and comfortable. Never did wake up because it was cold or anything, so not bad at all. So just that single thin down sleeping bag at that temperature, and I was comfortable. That to me is pretty impressive. Well, it's now a little after 8 o'clock. I'm gonna have to get up and start doing things, even though I wouldn't mind sleeping a little more. I don't have all day to waste. It looks like just a beautiful day out there. It's already over 50 degrees. It's just clear, sunny skies, and light breeze blowing now. And yeah, it was a
really comfortable night. I wish I could have gotten up here sooner, but it's enjoyable. I'm gonna have to get out the cook stove and heat up some water, get some coffee going, and try out a couple of other things, but that's really about it. It was a nice night and a good chance to test out some of this gear that I've gotten. I've been able to get some decent ideas of how stuff works, and got a couple of other things to do this morning so I can get some reviews done. But that's about it for this little overnight. This has been Republic Jim. I'll talk to you later.